Hi guys, it's Nanny Deb here, and I'm going to read to you a story. It's called Love You Forever. And the reason I picked this book is I was talking to Aunt Lissa, and little Mikey goes, I don't have a grandma. Well, yes you do, you silly goose. You have me. I'm Nanny. Just because you don't call me grandma doesn't mean that I'm not your grandma. I am definitely your grandma, and I love you guys all very, very much. All the way from Isaac to Daniel to Angela to Jacob to Mari to Michael to Maxwell to Soren. Sheesh, have I forgotten anybody? I don't think so. I think I got you all. I love you all so very much, and even the new baby on its way. So Nanny wanted to read you the story, and it's called I Love You Forever, and it's written by this guy named Robert Munsch, I think, and it's illustrated by this lady named Sheila McGraw. Anyway, this is the picture, and it's of a little baby, and kind of looks like Maxwell, doesn't it? Anyway, or maybe even Soren. Very cute. Anyway, the story's kind of about this little boy who's growing up. Now, I want you girls to pretend that maybe it's about a story about a little girl growing up, but it's all about this little child and their parent, or it could be a grandma, but it's gonna go with the story. It's about a mommy and a little boy, but use your imaginations. All right, and I'll try my darndest. Every time I read this, I cry. The story starts with a mother held her new baby and very slowly rocked him back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. While she held him, she sang, I love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. This is the mom. Ooh, Nanny will get it. There we go. That's the mommy and the new little baby. Isn't that pretty? But guess what? That baby got big. And the baby grew and he grew and he grew until he was 2 years old. And he ran around the house and he pulled all the books off the shelf. And he pulled all the food out of the refrigerator and took his mother's watch and flushed it down the toilet. And sometimes the mother would say, this kid is driving me crazy. I've said that, and I know your mommies say that too. There's that picture of that little baby. Look at the putting stuff in the toilet and getting into all kinds of stuff. That's what 2-year-olds do. But guess what? At night, when that 2-year-old was real quiet, the mother opened the door and crawled across his bedroom floor and looked over to the side of his bed, and if he was really asleep, she would pick him up and rock him back and forth and rock him back and forth, and then she would sing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And there's the picture of the mommy. See? There we go. Well, we'll get it. She's sneaking over just to see if that baby is sound asleep. Well, then the little boy grew, and he grew and grew and grew until he was 9 years old, kind of like Isaac and Daniel, a big boy. And he never wanted to come in for dinner, and he didn't ever want to take a bath. And when his grandmother came to visit him, he'd say bad words, and sometimes his mother said she wanted to sell him to the zoo. Wow, look at him. He all fingerprints all over and messy. Typical 9-year-old boy. But I don't want to sell you guys to the zoo either. But at nighttime, when he was asleep, the mother quietly opened the door, crawled across the floor, and looked up on the side of the bed. And if he was really asleep, she'd pick up that 9-year-old boy and rock him back and forth and back and forth. And she'd sing to him, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And look, oh, she's rocking that great big 9-year-old boy, just like a baby, because he's her baby. As the boy grew, he grew and grew until he was a teenager. And he had strange friends, and he wore strange clothes, and he listened to loud, strange music. And sometimes the mom felt like she was living in a zoo. Let's see the picture there. Oh, there's one of his friends, and it looks like there he is, and he's singing and acting all silly. Yep, that kind of looks like Nanny's house on a regular basis when you guys are here. Kind of like a zoo. But at nighttime, when that teenager fell asleep, the mother would open his door and crawl across the floor, and she'd go to his bed, and if he was really asleep, She'd pick up that great big boy in her arms and rock him back and forth and back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang to him this song: I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Aw. See, there she is. She's sneaking into his room. And there he is. Well, let's see what happens next. Well, that teenager, he grew, and he grew until he was a grown-up man. And then he left home and got a house far, far away across town. But sometimes on dark nights, the mother would get into her car and drive far, far, far across town with a ladder on her car. Check this out. She was determined. That's a silly lady, isn't it? If all the lights were off in her son's house, she would open the bedroom window and crawl across the floor, and then she'd look over the side of his bed, and if that great big man was really asleep, she'd pick him up and rock him back and forth and back and forth. And while she rocked him back and forth, she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Aw, there's that little old lady with that great big man. That was her son, and she's singing and loving him. And that's sweet. That's how I feel about my sons and my daughter. Well, that night the mother got older and older, and let's start over. Well, that mother, she got older and older. And one day she called up her son and said, you better come see me because I'm old and I'm sick. So her son came to see her. And when he came to the door, she tried to sing that song. She sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. But she couldn't finish because she was too old and too sick. She was knitting something there, and there's her son getting the phone call for him to come see his mom. Well, let's see, on the next page, the son went upstairs to see his mother, and he picked her up and he rocked her back and forth and back and forth. And then he sang to her this song, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be. That always makes Nanny cry. I don't know why. Isn't that sweet? He took care of his mommy now. When the son came home that night, he stood for a long time at the top of his stairs. There he is. He's at the top of his, we'll get it. He's at the top of his stairs. And oh, look, he's got a cat. Kind of looks like Crystal because it doesn't look like Buttons. Well, and let's see. Then he went into a room where his very new baby daughter was sleeping. He picked her up in his arms very slowly, and he rocked her back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And while he rocked her, he sang to her, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Aw, that's so nice. The daddy's passing it on and now singing that to his little girl. Isn't that a pretty story? And that's how Nanny feels about you kids. I'll love you forever, I like you for always, as long as I'm living, my grandchildren you'll be. I love you all so very, very much, and I miss you a bushel and a peck and a hug around the neck. I can't wait to see each one of you. I miss you all very much. Big kisses to each and every one of you. Give each other a big hug from Nanny, and know that you're always in my heart. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.